welcome back. So first and foremost, I just want to say that I hope you guys are doing well and staying safe and healthy. I've been kind of self-quarantining, I guess, for probably the past 3 weeks now, and it hasn't been much of a change for me since I do work from home normally, but it has been kind of a challenge for me, and I know a lot of you guys are working from home now, and that can be really challenging, especially just starting out and trying to get organized and jump right into work. So today I'm going to be talking about just my planner system in general and my planning process and everything. But real quick, I just want to say thank you to Skillshare for sponsoring today's video. Skillshare is really the only sponsor that I've wanted to talk to you guys about on my channel because I really do love and enjoy their platform. I had previously looked it up and tried it out just from hearing about it on other YouTube videos and in my favorite podcasts, so I'd already been really familiar with their whole concept, but to be able to bring it to you guys and kind of share some of my favorite classes is really cool. If you don't know what Skillshare is, it's an online learning community and they have thousands of different classes that you can take. So one of the ones that I've been taking and loving that I would highly recommend is the Productivity Masterclass. So in that class you learn how to create a custom system that works for your needs, which is definitely something that I appreciated because, you know, we all have such different lives and different things going on, so learning how to customize it to your needs is really, really important. So if you guys want to try out Skillshare, the first 500 people to click the link below will get 2 free months of premium membership, so definitely take advantage of that. So today I just thought I would kind of walk you guys through my planning process and just kind of show you how I use my planner in general. I get a lot of requests for plan with me's, but it's kind of hard for me to do a sit down kind of talk through plan with me just because of the way that I plan and the times of day that I plan. So as you probably noticed, I did get a new planner and I've been really enjoying this. It's super stuffed. That's the thing about my Louis Vuitton planners. The rings are so big that I tend to fill it up with a ton of inserts. So I'm just going to kind of flip through my planner and then explain certain sections and how I use them. So I did change up some of the front pockets and just made this section a little bit more functional. So I have my business cards, some stickers that I use all the time, and then I have a bunch of task cards and frequently used stickers in these in the first couple pages of my planner. So I have all of these kind of ready to go and easily accessible. And then I just have some pockets and things and some reference materials, and then getting into my actual planner setup. First thing that I have is my inbox system, which this is a dashboard from Cloth and Paper, and I just have one of their lined memo inserts behind it. And basically all I do in this section is anytime I have a task or something that I don't want to schedule in right away, maybe I'm working on my computer and a random thought pops into my head, or I get a call from Walgreens to refill my prescription but I don't have time right now, that's kind of how I use this section. So I'll just jot it down and have a running list of all of my to-dos, and then when I have a couple minutes I'll either just quickly do that task and check it off, or I'll go ahead and schedule it into my planner and then check it off. And then anything that's a little bit more short term, I usually just write on a sticky note. And so I usually have 1 to 2 sticky notes with a bunch of tasks, and then and usually those are the quickest tasks to get through. So instead of writing them on my permanent inbox sheet, I just kind of write them on a sticky note, and then when I'm done, I'll just rip the sticky note off and replace it. And the next insert that I have are these monthly overviews from Element Paper Co. And these I use for deadlines. So at the top I have some of the most important things at the top. So in the first quarter of the year, my taxes were kind of a big thing for me. So I had 2 important tax to-dos that I listed up in the top section. And then from there, I just schedule in any deadlines into these calendars. And these are kind of long-term things. So if I have big projects due, I'll schedule them in there. So I just like to have the deadline somewhere in my planner, and then from there I can plan out other tasks or littler projects within a big project in my weekly section. And then after that is my calendar section, and I have the Infinite Lotus monthly overviews in this section, and I pretty much do monthly planning in here, but it's not like I sit down at the beginning of the month and plan out everything that needs to get done. I usually just put in any important events to begin with, and then from there, when anything else pops up, I'll go ahead and schedule them into this section. And same thing with future planning. If I have any important dates that come up, I'll just go ahead and schedule them into the calendar right away. So if I have like weddings or events or anything like that, I usually just plug them into here. And then after that, I will go ahead and put them into my weekly overviews. And in this section, of course, I'm using the Infinite Lotus weekly overviews. I love these inserts. I've been using them forever, and I use these every single week. I have the full year of dated inserts, and this is where I list all of my most important to-dos. I don't put a lot of personal to-dos on here. This is mainly like work and events. I don't really put like my cleaning checklist on here or anything. Some weeks, if I don't have a super busy week, I will add those types of things, but usually it's mainly tasks and projects and things that need to get done. So usually every Sunday I sit down and go through my different schedules. I go through my inbox system, and I try to schedule in anything that needs to get done. So this was this week, so I don't have the weekend planned yet, and I usually try not to fill in everything in my planner right away because dates do change and things happen. So what I usually do is just use a sticky note to jot down like more tentative things, or I'll put in page flags with like tentative dates, and then when it gets closer to that day, I'll go ahead and schedule it. I don't want to have too many like extraneous things on here. So what I usually do is plan out like concrete deadlines or things like that. In the weekly section, I list all of my like work and personal things that need to get done for the week. And then I don't do too much like pre-planning. I don't really put any like dinner plans on here unless there's like a reservation or something. I'll usually go ahead and add those after the fact so I don't have to cross anything out. This was a hard deadline that I previously had, but with everything going on, that deadline did get changed. So I had to cross it off, which I don't really like to do. But from there, as you can see, I don't do a lot of future planning on these. Again, if I have a hard deadline, I will schedule them in ahead of time. So I basically just have a couple of things on here for next week, and then the rest of my weeklies are pretty much blank. So in this section, I'm using my Element Paper Co. week on 2-page categorized inserts. I did add one of the cloth and paper vertical hourly inserts in here too, because I like to use these when I have a really busy week and more time-sensitive tasks. So depending on the week, I'll use different inserts, and that's why I like to use undated inserts for the most part. So this particular week, I had a lot of deadlines, I had a few meetings, and a couple of places to be. So this timed layout worked a lot better for me. So I could kind of schedule things and track where my time was going to make sure that I was being productive and staying on schedule. So that is what I used this for. But then I'm also using the Element Paper Co. week on 2-page categorized inserts. I don't know if that's what they're called. That's just what I call them because that's how I kind of lay it out. I categorize 4 different sections of my life and then put any to-dos or events in each section. So I've been using these since December, and I've been loving them. This is really helpful, and again, I don't really need to use these every single week. Just when I'm feeling overwhelmed or I have a lot going on and a lot of extra tasks. So usually what I do is set up this far left column with my schedule. So anything that I need to see or anything that I need to do, or if I have a meeting or somewhere to be, an appointment, I'll put that in my schedule section, even if it is relating to any of these other categories. And then in the next column, I put my work list. And then these two usually change, but I usually have one for either home or personal things, and then any like branding or social media type things in one column. Up here, I usually put my 2 most important either to-dos or deadlines or tasks or things that I need to remember. And then up in this section, I usually put in another focus or a goal or something like that. So I've been using these for several weeks now, and I absolutely love this system. It's really helpful when I'm just feeling overwhelmed, and it helps me to kind of break up my life into different categories and plan that way. So I've been loving these. And then the next section is my daily inserts. And again, I don't use these every single day. They're undated. I just pull these out when I need them. So these are from Infinite Lotus, and I love these. So basically, I just kind of put in my top 5 priorities that I have to do for the day. Sometimes it's less, sometimes it's just 3 and I leave a couple blank, or I add in a couple of goals that I want to try to work on. And then in the task section, I list any to-dos that have to get done specifically for that day. So this planner has pretty much everything in here. It has personal things, work things, goals, future projects, all of that kind of stuff. So just depending on the day and what I'm working on, I like to split up my task lists between the different categories and the different things that I'm working on in different areas of my life. So I'll split this section up in one of two ways. The first way is either by morning tasks and PM tasks, or I'll do like all of my work tasks and then all of my personal tasks or a project that I'm working on, and just kind of separate them that way so I don't get confused, and I can complete all my work tasks earlier in the day and get all of that out of the way, and then start working on different projects that I'm working on or any personal chores or errands I need to get done. And the note section I usually use for personal things like cleaning, because I love cleaning, especially right now. I've just been cleaning everything. So like every other day I'll clean the kitchen, clean my room, I'll tidy up my office space, I'll do laundry. I like to open up the windows and get fresh air in here and do the floors. So I've been doing that like pretty much every other day just to keep a really clean living space, especially right now. But I usually put like my cleaning list down in this section. So I'll just kind of flip through some of my dailies just so you guys can kind of see how I've laid them out, but that's basically how I use them. I just put in my schedule and separate my task lists. And I do use stickers in a lot of my sections, and mostly my stickers are just either for kind of decoration, making it look a little bit more aesthetically pleasing, just so I like the way that my planner looks, and if I like the way it looks, I'm more inclined to use it. But they also serve purposes. I use them to highlight dates and times and things like that. And the next section is my work section, and I'm not really going to get into this. I'll just tell you the inserts that I have in here and how I use them. So obviously I have a dashboard just kind of blocking any sensitive information, but the first thing that I have in that section is another vellum dashboard from Cloth and Paper, the other inbox dashboard, and I have the same system that's in the front of my planner, but just for work-related things. This one is all personal things, so if I have any bills I need to pay, calls that I need to make, refill a prescription, pick up something, go to the post office, anything like that, I'll usually just put in this inbox section. And then the one in my work section obviously just has work tasks, and I use my work one a little bit differently. It's, I mean, the same concept, but I use sticky notes for anything that's going to get done this week, and then any long-term projects I'll actually write on the insert behind it. That way it's just easier for me to open up and see what has to get done, and then I can take off my weekly sticky note and toss it, and then put on a new one for the next week. And then I also have these project management inserts in my work section. These are from Cloth and Paper. You guys have to go check out their new project management style inserts. They have, I think, 3 or 4 new layouts. So this is the project management one, and I also am loving the SWOT analysis inserts because I do use those all the time. But I highly recommend trying these if you have any projects that you're working on, collaborations, if you do sponsored videos, anything like that. It's just a really good place to kind of list any tasks and things you need to get done, and you have a whole separate insert for it instead of just putting it into your weekly or monthly spread. So next I have my finance section, and again, I'm not going to go super in depth with this because it is pretty sensitive private information, but the main inserts that I have in here are, number one, this bill insert from Infinite Lotus. So this is just where I have all of my bills listed, and you can do all of your bill planning for the full year on one insert, which I really like. And then I'm using these bill trackers as my online orders. After that, I have my business expense inserts, and I just use this to quickly log any business expenses, and then from there I put them into a spreadsheet. After that section, I have my monthly income trackers. I use these and keep up with these every single month because it's really important that I have all that information just for my own records and for taxes. I made this little color coding key for my income tracker, but basically how I use these inserts is every time I get paid, I just write down the deposit date, the source of income, and the amount. And then what I do is total all that up at the end of the month and just write down the total. And I also use these different colored dots to track different pay dates on these little calendars. And most of these come each month, but some come every 2 weeks or every 2 months. So I just like to keep track of all that and have a visual. So that's why I use the transparent dots. And then from there, I will plug in any information into the next insert, which is the annual review. So I have the top part filled out, but basically it just has a chart which has your total income, bills, business expenses, other expenses, your starting balance, and then your ending balance, so you can keep track of income and expenses and any savings in this chart. So that's just how I use my planning system. It's pretty straightforward. But besides my actual planner, I do have a few other systems that I'm using. I have a filing system that helps me just organize papers and taxes and all that kind of stuff. And then I've also been using this clipboard system, which I could do a whole video on, and I probably will at some point. But basically I just use it to keep myself organized and prioritize different tasks and projects that I have going on. But anyways, that's it for me today. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you have any questions at all, just leave them down below. I hope you guys stay safe and stay healthy, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!